here we are together to learn more about the Tesco Community Grants Funding Programme. I suppose it was only fair to say that other supermarkets are available, and many of our supermarkets do have great engagement with the community and support in different ways. But here we are, just learning about Tesco's. So the reason that Groundwork gets very involved in the Tesco's funding programme is that Groundwork UK administer this funding programme on behalf of Tesco's, and locally as Groundwork Northamptonshire, our role is to promote the programme and also to make sure that we have 3 projects in each Tesco store region across Northamptonshire who go into the vote every 3 months. So Groundwork also runs some other funding programmes. Comic relief funding is not available at the moment, but when it is, then Tesco's UK promote that. And we have another programme, Grow, Cook, Eat, which there's another session on. So I do encourage you to join that, look that up on the schedule, because that's a wonderful additional funding programme as well. So Tesco Community Grants funds thousands of local projects across the UK. It started in 2017 when Tesco's, along with all the other supermarkets following government legislation, really implemented, kicking out single-use carrier bags and encouraged us all to reuse our bags. Every time you went in at that stage, if you remember that, you used a plastic bag cost 5p. And all of that money was accumulated and put into a trust fund that Tesco's used for this community funding. Over time, as that's developed, we've improved, haven't we, in terms of remembering to take canvas bags and reuse plastic bags. So the amount of money in the pot has reduced, but it's still there, and Tesco still continue this funding programme, which is now branded up as Stronger Starts, with a focus on young people, but not only young people. There's still place for any projects to go in, and we'll discuss that as we go on. So what is the Stronger Starts funding programme? So it's open for all applications all year round and is a 3-monthly rolling programme. Grants of up to £1,500 are available, and 3 projects go into vote in each of our Tesco regions, and I'll talk more about that in a minute, across the country. If you come first in the voting, you get £1,500, second £1,000, and third £500. And in each store region, the ideal is that there'll be 1 school project, 1 children and young people's project, and 1 any other project. And the key objective in this is that the project must deliver community benefits. Plus, there is a periodic golden token event, and I'll tell you about that. Well, I'll tell you about it now. So the golden token, and I misspelt that at the top there very cleverly, happens twice a year, and this is a randomly selected programme where Tesco's select a store that will hold this event. So nobody knows it's going to happen. It's a surprise. But whichever store is chosen, and in that region, a customer will get the chance to pick a gold token out of a velvet purse that'll be at the store, and then choose where to deposit that gold token in the 3 good projects that are available in the voting boxes. And whichever they choose, that project receives £5,000. The additional benefit for the others in the mix in that voting period is that there's no £500 allocation. Whoever comes next in the voting or first in the voting gets £1,500 and the second gets 1,000 at the end of the voting period. So golden token is an additional thing. You can't influence it. You don't know it's going to happen. But if it's where your uh, uh, application is in the mix, then there's that possibility. So that's just extra nice. So I mentioned about Tesco store regions, and that's basically where there's a major store. And for us in Northamptonshire, that's Brackley, Corby, Daventry, Kettering, two in Northampton, that's Meaway and Weston Favell, Towcester and Wellingborough. And you can see that the Corby and Wellingborough stores have catchments that include other areas of the county as well. But when you apply and you go into the application process, you'll put in your postcode and it will align you to your local store. So what type of projects will we support? I mean, I get involved in funding advice and awareness around funding quite a lot, and this is one of the most accessible funding programs around. And I've just listed out there the current applications across Northamptonshire include this range of community projects. And as I mentioned earlier, one school, one children and young people's project, and one any other project. So you can see that it's a range of groups and organisations you can imagine are behind those applications. So there you have it. So what won't this programme support? Well, there's no retrospective funding. So no applications, no projects that have already taken place. There's a whole list there of things. None of them will be a surprise to you because these are quite standard across most or many funding programs. But one of the things to pick out there, it won't support any work overseas. So we sometimes get interest from, for instance, scout groups who are looking to send young people on a jamboree that's happening somewhere else in the world. Unfortunately, that won't be acceptable for this program. But so it's local projects fundamentally, which are all providing community benefit. So who can apply? Again, another interesting aspect of this Tesco's funding programme is that basically any not-for-profit organisation can apply, which, as well as what we might see as the more standard, voluntary and community organisations and charities, it also includes schools, health bodies, hospital trusts, foundation trusts, parish and town councils and local authorities, social housing providers and community interest companies. All of the application process is online, and your governance documents will be required in the application process to be uploaded. So your governance documents, whether they're a constitution, articles of memorandum, or however you're constituted in that sense, have to be available online to be uploaded onto the application forms. And community interest companies must have 2 years of accounts. If you're a voluntary organisation that's not a registered charity, then the people who are involved in making the application and the signatories there will need to have a credit check and give evidence of that through the application process. And that can include, giving some evidence that you are who you are. It's all about tackling fraud and all of that stuff around us online of invisible, made up bots and imaginary people who can try and fiddle their way into these processes to pinch some money. So how do you apply? Well, everything's done online, and there is the link. But if you type into your search engine Tesco Community Grants, you'll find a link and it'll take you into the process. It begins with an eligibility quiz, which is basically asking you who you are and what your organization is, and for you to state that you're a not-for-profit organization. And on successfully completing that eligibility quiz, you'll receive an email with a hyperlink in it that takes you to the application form. And it's very important when you do this that you keep that email, because you return to that to readmit yourself back to your application form, because you can be working on it, save it, keep it. You can share the application form with other people on your committee. You might even want to send me a copy of it and ask my opinion. I'll give you any words of advice that I can to assist you as well. And then you obviously press submit at the end. But on your portal, which is where you go to where your application form is, there's a drop-down menu where your application forms are kept, and also any other communication forms from the Tesco grants process, such as your completion report and that type of thing. On the website, you'll also find some wonderful guidance notes and frequently asked questions that will assist you. But I'm also available for support if you've got any questions. And importantly here, to note that an organisation can make up to 6 applications aligned to different store areas. So if your services are delivered to different parts of Northamptonshire, then you can apply to local stores. Examples of local organisations who've made good use of this include Northamptonshire Rights and Equality Council, Northamptonshire Mind. They're 2 that come to mind, who have made multiple applications across Northamptonshire to different stores. There's also a cancer support charity, Elsa's Aim. They've also made good use of that. You just need to nuance the application to each store area by saying that you're delivering services to that area. So it's important to say those words in that sense, but happy to answer more questions about that at the end. So what makes a good application? Okay, well, very much in this application form, less is more, because when you go into this, the application form asks you questions about who you are, what your organisation is, your contact details, etc. But then the meat of this is about 2 elements. The first bit is giving you a small box that is between 140 and 180 characters. And that box is giving you the opportunity to say what your project is in a succinct sentence. And when you go into vote in store, those words are what will go in the above the voting box. So those words are your marketing opportunity to the great Tesco public shoppers who will have the blue tokens to drop in the voting boxes to tell them about your project. Below that, there'll then be a box with up to 300 words where you can describe your project, and that's going to be seen only by the Tesco's, the Groundwork Tesco's administration team, who are managing the process. So that's 140 to 160 characters. That also includes the spaces between them. So it's a very succinct sentence, and I often encourage people to write those words onto a text document away from the application form, then use the word count facility, and it tells you how many characters you've used in that process. So of course, reducing and to the and symbol saves you space there. And when you're using that 300 word box to describe your project and tell the administrators what they're interested to know is about the community benefit, who's benefiting from the service that you're providing. And then they'll want to know the budget and what you're asking for. one of my big disappointments in all of this is where a community group or a project that comes forward asks for £900 and they come first in the vote and they could have had 1,500. So remember, if you come first in the vote, you get £1,500, second 1,000, third 500. But the key thing is to have 1,500 in mind. If you're challenged in how to spend £1,500, give me a call. I'll help you, talk you through how to spend that money. It can also contribute to a larger budget as well, or a larger project. And be passionate and enthusiastic about the community benefit that you're going to use with this money. So there's the website address again. There's other information in there about supporting you in project ideas. And remember that once you've got the money and you've completed the project, do submit your final report, because you can't reapply for funding with this funding programme until you've done that. And you can reapply in the future. So when you go in, that's the first application screen. It'll just tell you to put your email in, confirm it, and give them a password. Continue into the process, and it will take you into the eligibility checker and onwards. There's a drop down once you go into the make the application page, and with guidance notes, which are sensibly read. They're very understandable and plain English, so do use those. So that's my contact details. I'm just going to stop sharing.